Welcome to Affirmation Conversations, your go to for insightful discussions on topics that truly matter. I'm Jessica Marcet, CEO and founder of idoaffirm. And in today's episode, we're delving deep into the critical terrain of mental health. In a world where the pressures of daily life can sometimes feel overwhelming, understanding, coping with, and destigmatizing mental health issues is more crucial than ever. Join us for an affirming conversation as we navigate through the complexities of mental health, offering practical tips for daily well being and exploring the importance of open conversations. Whether you're seeking support or simply looking to enhance your mental well being, this episode is for you. We're here to shed light on the nuances of mental health and provide valuable insights that prioritize holistic wellness. So, grab your headphones, tune in, and let's embark on this journey together towards a healthier mind and a brighter future. Because here at Affirmation Conversations, we believe in the power of positive dialogue to uplift and empower. Now, let me introduce our panel guests for today. Michael Hayes, a native of Duval County in Jacksonville, Florida, embarked on a journey shaped by resilience and determination. Following his parents' divorce at age 13, Mike relocated to North Carolina, where he completed high school. At 14, he met his future wife, Kimberly, with whom he welcomed their first child at 16. Despite initially intending to attend the University of South Carolina after high school, Mike opted for a different path, taking a year off before enrolling at Shaw University, a small HBCU in Raleigh, North Carolina. In 2008, he made the pivotal decision to enlist in the Army as a paralegal specialist. Amidst his military service, Michael reconnected with Kimberly, marrying her during his advanced individual training. Throughout their journey, they've welcomed two more children. Mike's academic achievements include an associate's in general studies, a bachelor's in sociology, a master's in management and leadership, a grad certificate in project management, and an executive certificate in psychology. Currently pursuing a doctoral degree in industrial and organizational psychology at Liberty University, Mike remains deeply committed to the many roles he plays in life, including founder of You Can Too Inc., a nonprofit organization dedicated to mentoring and supporting underprivileged school-aged children of color. Welcome, Mike.
Man, I appreciate that, man. That was
Mhm.
a great introduction.
I almost thought I was going to lose my breath. You're so educated.
Nah, I'm just trying to keep busy.
I love to see it. I love to see it. And I love the name of your nonprofit organization. You can too, because based on that bio that I just gave, I mean, you really have truly proven that you can too. And if you can, others can as well. So I appreciate that. And I know we're
Absolutely.
going to get back more into that as well.
Absolutely.
Our next guest, Kaylee Davis, is a graduate of Harris Stowe State University of my hometown, St. Louis, where she earned a degree in criminal justice with a specialization in juvenile justice. Currently pursuing a master's degree in counseling with a focus on clinical mental health at Lindenwood University, Kaylee is dedicated to supporting youth as a school based community support specialist. In this role, she implements interventions to enhance social skills and promote academic success. Kaylee's career ambition is to establish her own practice, catering specifically to the needs of young individuals. Welcome, Kaylee. I'm
Hello.
so proud of both of you all. Like, look at the amazing things that you're both doing.
I got to
Appreciate
connect with Kaylee. I like that. Working with you, I like that.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. I love this. When I was reading both of your bios, I was incredibly impressed by how connected that you both really were. So I appreciate being able to, get you both to network with one another because I definitely
Mhm.
think that you can do great things with one
Hmm.
another. And also, Mike, with your nonprofit, you can too. Kaylee and her wife actually have a nonprofit called Martha's Angels where they do things for the youth as well. So you probably can definitely connect with them as well.
Mhm.
Oh, we gonna do that.
Yeah,
We're
for
gonna do
sure.
that.
So let me start off the conversation with just asking the two of you, and Kaylee, I'll allow you to go first. What does mental health mean to you, and why is it significant in today's society?
Excuse me. Mental health means whatever it looks like for you. So, just really focusing on self care, if going to therapy, taking walks, whatever it looks like for for the individual. And I feel like in today's society, mental health is very important, just because of everything we're going through as a country as a whole, like stressors, inflation, like things are getting harder for people. So I feel like it's very important to focus on your mental health, whatever that may look like for you. And because I focused on the youth, I feel like it's important to implement it in their lives early so that they, get the all the good information so that they can succeed and not have to find it when they're older, if that makes sense.
I love that. Absolutely. Mike?
I mean, kind of to piggyback off what Kaylee said, I think it's different for different people, but for me individually, mental health is just being at a state of peace, whatever that is, in that certain situation. It's environments that we're always going to be in that sometimes we don't want to be in, our jobs, and we're probably going to get to talking about that. And our many roles that we have to fill each day. Sometimes you got to just be yourself and be within yourself, whether that's meditation, whether that's counseling, any of those things. And I like to just highlight those because it normally is, when we talk about mental health, we're talking from a standpoint of reaction. And I think that we should be changing that into why are you not actually seeking or working on your mental health so that we don't get to that breaking point. So for me, I prioritize it very high, probably right under spiritual, but they're kind of connected. So this is a great topic for me because I tell everybody already knows that it's three things. I thank God, my wife, and my counselor. So
Oh, yeah. I've heard you
mental
say that.
mental health, exactly. So mental health is always up there for me.
Awesome. I love that. And I do agree. It definitely, I do agree with both of you all. It's something that you have to prioritize, but it does look different for everybody. And
Hmm.
like what you said, Mike, it could definitely be situation and environment dependent as well. And we'll definitely get a little bit more into that. Can each of you share your personal experience and or perspective on mental health? And Mike, I know you just mentioned counseling, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so I'll just say it's funny that we're having this conversation today because I was actually looking at my medical records. Not that I'm trying to, get ready to go ahead and get out of this organization or anything like that, but I was just doing my checkup, and yeah, mental health, like, so my counselings, they are like pivotal to me. Like they're ingrained in my schedule. It's like my internal battle rhythm or whatever you want to call it. My battle plan. So
Mhm.
every 2 weeks, I have a counseling session for 45 to 60 minutes. And we talk about everything. I talk on days when it's good, days when it's bad, days when I'm unsure, days when I'm trying to weigh whether I want to do this option or that option, and it's kind of worked to make me a better person. So much so that it started for me years ago, but where I really took a real deliberate interest in counseling was after my accident when I was in Virginia in 2022. And I started then, and I've been going ever since. And for my counselor that I had from 2022 to now, the one that I have that transferred with me because she's licensed in Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina. I virtually meet with her. So it's not like I gotta go anywhere. Like I
That's
just turn on the
awesome.
phone or turn on the computer, and then when the connection is not good, she works with me. It might be just phone convo, but it's always a touch point every 2 weeks. And in the beginning, it was just I get in there and I just talk. Now I actually kind of add some structure to it
Hmm.
because now I'm trying to work on being a better person too. Because with
Hmm.
mental health, I don't think people understand that when you're in a state of peace, like I was talking about earlier, I think you just emotionally deal with things better.
Yes.
You're able to deal with the harder things easier. We've been talking about because when we grow up, we really learn like those easy emotions, right? We learn the anger, we learn the happy, we learn the sad, but we don't learn that there's a gambit of emotions that we actually go through that if we can actually put a vocabulary to it, we can react better.
Exactly.
So we talk about those in-depth ones like frustration, like
Oh, I
When
love
you're
that.
like when you're unsure, disappointment as opposed to anger, right?
Right.
And really putting a feeling to it and how you actually feel when those things happen.
Hmm.
And it works for every environment. Like whether you're working at a job or whether you're at home with your family or whether you're with your friends or whether you're in the role where you're talking to your parents, it works for me. It has been a godsend. It's made me a better person. So counseling is always like number one for me when it's like my go-to when we talk about mental health.
I
So
love that. Thank
yeah,
you.
if I'm not in counseling, I'm not a good person. That's how I feel. Like
Hmm.
I tell my counselor that we always at the end of our counseling sessions, she always says this crazy thing. She says, don't get in trouble, but if you do, don't get in too much trouble.
I like it. I like it.
So yeah, I
Make
look
it
forward
just
to
enough
those.
to where you can kind of, fix it.
Yeah, yeah, where I can still work on it. I don't want it to
Yep.
be something where it's like, hey, it's the end all be all. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I take a step back now because of her. She's helped me with that, and I try not to, because we're all humans, right? I try not to just act emotionally when things happen. I try to look at it from different perspectives, even though it's difficult. And then decide, kind of take a decided approach to how I'm going to mentally respond to it, emotionally respond to it, or any of that. So that's
Awesome.
just some skills I picked up from her. So I look to hopefully pick up some more than that because I need it.
I love it.
I
I love
need it.
it. And what you're picking up, you can, pay it forward and share that, especially with the youth, and those that you lead, because, your current rank and your position in the military, you are
Hmm.
a leader. So that's awesome. How about you, Kaylee?
Well, for me, I didn't start focusing on mental health until I was getting my master's in
Oh,
counseling.
wow. Hmm.
So we had to, for my first semester, we had to actually take therapy from a intern student, and we had to do like 6 sessions, and they were required for my class. So that's when I kind of like got into it, and like kind of what Mike said, like wanted to be a better person. I learned a lot about myself, like as I was telling my therapist or the student therapist, just about things that I had endured in my life or things that I had been through. I kind
Hmm.
of like, she kind of was telling me, okay, well, that's probably why you do that, or that's why you do this. And I was like thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, like it made sense to me. And then,
Hmm.
just what I learned, like I started to use it for my clients, my youth clients, like the diagnosis that they have. Like I would just use everything that I learned to create interventions for them. Like, and sometimes I create interventions on the spot, like just
Hmm.
based off like their diagnosis, like anxiety, ADHD, schizophrenia. Like I don't know, it just comes to me like based on things that I've learned. Like, and I really enjoy like the theories that I've learned about, like Eric Erickson's theory of development. I really, really love that theory specifically because um, as you research it and you look at it, like everything that he's talking about unfolds. Like if you don't, like me working with my clients, if they don't get that love and all of that emotional support in the beginning, you can see how it detaches, when they get older. And I see that in a lot of my
Hmm.
clients that I deal with. Like they don't, some of them didn't get that. So now that's why
Hmm.
they act the way they act, and that's where some of their diagnoses come from. So that's how I relate to mental health, just off what I've learned, what I've seen, and working with my clients.
I'm with you on that, Kaylee, like for real, because I was one of those. Like it was a lot of just dust it off and get up. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
Yeah,
You don't need to
exactly.
cry about it. Don't cry about it.
hmm
Um,
We also get that, quit crying, I'll give you something to cry about.
yep.
So it's like
oh
we
man.
are sort of told to, like, we're taught to suppress our emotions from such a young
Hmm.
age. And I can't speak on other cultures, but I will definitely say in ours, or just from a male's perspective, right? Like if a little boy is crying, it's like, stop crying, and I'm definitely not trying to use this derogatory term. I hate this word, but this is what was said back then. It's like they would call the little boy a sissy or a punk, for
Hmm.
crying, for sharing his emotions. And it's like those little boys back then are now fathers raising the little boys of now who don't know how to process
Hmm.
their emotions because they're told, don't cry, I'm gonna give you something to cry about, or boys don't cry, you gotta toughen it up. And that's why you in your, work with the youth, and Kaylee with your work with the youth. That's why you're seeing what you're seeing and dealing with what you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I deal with it like internally too. That gave us a wake up call as a family too when it came to mental health too, because my son has autism. And
Mm,
the first so we didn't find out to, or he didn't get tested, and he didn't get tested and test on the spectrum until he was 5. I would be honest and say that we didn't accept it. I'm just
right.
gonna be honest until
It's
he was probably
hard.
about till he was probably about 7,
Hmm.
and it was a difficult it was difficult to understand, okay, how do we actually interface with him, because I'll tell you one thing, now we look at it, years have passed, and it's like we kind of envious of it. It's like a superpower, and the reason I say that because he will express every emotion that he feels,
Mm-hmm.
unlike, normally we're taught in certain environments act this way, right?
Yep.
um, Even if you might go to like a cookout or something, back in the day, hey, you need to talk to everybody. Why you
Mm,
acting like that? Why you not happy?
exactly.
Nah, he if he's not happy, he's gonna act as if he's not happy, and he's gonna
Exactly.
be that fully.
Yeah.
And we have really learned a lot through helping him navigate, and then really him just teaching us how to be better too, and be more patient and empathetic. um, so I really gotta give a lot of credit to that, and I think that, I mean, God does things for a reason. I think
Absolutely.
that he put him in our lives and in our family for a reason, to make us stop, slow down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and really just understand the perspective of other people. And
Mm-hmm.
it's helped me when I talk to older people, whether they're on the spectrum or not,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to understanding and being okay, because it's frustrating when you start working on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
or you start actually focusing on mental health. You think that, okay, well, I'm working on this. These other people around me, I hope you're not even really thinking about whether they're working on it or not. You just like,
Right.
look, this is the new me. This is how I'm going to see things. And you got to understand that people work on it at different times, right? Or they might
Exactly.
not have ever been exposed to it, like we just
Yes.
talked about. So,
Absolutely.
um, having him here has made me understand that in the office where I work, but then also outside when I'm actually dealing with the youth, or I'm just dealing with, I mean, just people in general,
Absolutely.
So,
So I have a question. What are some common misconceptions and stereotypes surrounding mental health, and how have you all seen those impact individuals and communities?
mm,
I know, I feel like recently we're just getting a little more open to accepting, mental health as a common topic, right? Counseling, I feel like, doesn't really have the stigma that it had before. Before, especially in our community, right? People will be like, I'm not telling no stranger my business, and now it's kind of like it's a thing. Like you said, Mike, it's part of your battle rhythm. Like you do it, and it's like if you miss it, you feel like you're missing something. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So how do you all see that?
So
um,
I feel like in our community, in the Black community, therapy and mental health is definitely stigmatized. Like you just said, like I don't want to tell them people my business, or they think you crazy if you want therapy. If you want to
mhm,
talk to somebody else
Yes,
about your problems, which is not
that
true.
word.
Yes, crazy is the kicker for me. I feel, and
Yep.
and I don't understand why. I don't know. Like if you're having issues or you're having problems, you should be able to talk to your family about it. And that's another thing. Like in the Black community, you can't talk to your family sometimes. It is not all the time, but you can't even talk to your own family about it because, like we just talked
mhm,
about, they'll tell you to suck it up or man up or nothing wrong with you. I had a friend that said that like he told his grandmother like grandma, I'm sad, and she was like, okay, like we'll go in the kitchen and fix something to eat, like, or something like that. It's crazy,
Right.
like,
Like that's what you do when you're hungry, not
right?
when you're
Like,
sad.
yeah,
what you
You know
yo,
what I
doing?
mean?
I'm sad, like,
Exactly.
I don't know, that fried chicken might work though, man,
And
from my
it
grandma
definitely
back
might
in the day,
work. That's true. That's true.
for
I
a
mean,
minute,
I guess
right, and then you right
yeah,
back
feed
to
your
it.
then
soul.
you back sad.
I guess she feels if you feed your soul, you're gonna be happy. So I mean,
Right.
Nah,
I
I
get it.
understand.
But
Yeah.
another thing I would add to that, and I would like y'all opinion on that. I feel like, from generations past, we were always taught to take our problems to God, right? And so now it's like taking your problems to someone else. A lot of the elders, they look down on that. They do not accept going outside of the church or God to talk to someone else about your problems. So I think that's another reason why we are so adverse to it in our community as well.
Yep.
I agree. I think you need a heavy or a healthy combination of both.
Yes.
Um, I mean, and the way I look at it is, God has blessed those people to have the talents, whether it's counselors, whether it's
Yeah.
psychiatrists or psychologists,
Yeah.
for you to actually talk to, right, and utilize them for the skills that they've been blessed with, right?
Hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think so. I
Mm-mm.
will say that not just in our community, but I think that because it's trendy right now, mental
Yeah.
health, it's this thought that people think is not stigmatized anymore, and it is still.
It is.
Um,
Yes.
the I mean, the hurdles, and I'll just be specific. So you notice when I really heavily got into counseling, it was in Virginia. In Virginia, I was not actually on a military installation.
Hmm.
So the way in which I was able to get into it with my civilian counselors and civilian therapists was different. It was not where I had to walk into a behavioral health. It was not where I had to talk to somebody on military one source. It was
Yeah.
not where I had to go talk to a provider, a PA,
To
and
get a
tell them,
referral.
hey, correct. So I didn't have to go through telling somebody my problems to then go talk to somebody else about my problems. I could go direct.
Yeah.
Um, I think those hurdles and barriers that are in place stop people from actually utilizing the sources that are out there, the resources that they actually have,
Absolutely.
because it still feels like it's a stigmatism, like or like why do I have to go into a building in my uniform to tell them I need to talk to somebody?
Yes.
And I think it's going to take a huge overhaul as to where instead of it being I'm going to go into this behavioral health to talk to somebody, one or two things. It either be where you can just contact TRICARE and say this person takes TRICARE, this is who I'm going to go talk to,
Hmm.
or it actually be something that is checked just like every other readiness type of thing, to
Exactly.
where who instead of saying do you need to talk, saying who, just like who is your primary care, who is your
Mental health provider.
mental health provider,
Hmm.
and it be something that is mandated, even if you don't
Exactly.
necessarily use them, but at least then they know that you have somebody in the event that you want to.
Yeah.
Uh, but until we get to that, I think it's still going to be that stigmatism, because when you go talk to somebody, human nature is because they're not trained. A lot of times in our community, a lot of times instead of listening as therapists do and helping you to work through it, a lot of times it's thrown back at you as the why, like you brought up the why are you sad? Why you sad? You got this,
Exactly.
you got a good job, you got this, you
Right.
got that. They hit you
Yeah.
with that. Oh, I
Mm.
like that, the thumbs up thing.
I know it's so funny. So sometimes whenever you guys do certain hand movements, like
What
balloons and
else?
stuff gonna pop
Yeah.
up.
What
I
else they
haven't
do?
quite mastered the movement.
What?
You trying to say- What are
I
you-
knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it would be a heart. But
That is
but
so
yeah,
funny. No, I
like
definitely agree. And you know what? I remember because, I am on my own mental health journey. I have a depression diagnosis, and people will be surprised by that because seemingly to everyone looking on the outside, looking in, it's like you said, I have everything. It isn't about that. Like sometimes my mood is just down and
Mhm.
I don't know why. I don't
hmm
have an answer. I'm I'm in a very healthy, happy marriage. I am in a good relationship with my parents, with my siblings, with my friends. My job is cool. Sometimes I just feel very down. I don't know why. It's really no explanation for it. Like I can't explain it. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I have anxiety. It's like I believe that whatever I set my mind to, I can achieve it. I'm going to do well, but that anxiety is still there and I can't fight it. I can't I mean, all I do to try to combat it is over prepare. You know what I mean? Is try to be as prepared as possible. And I have
Hmm.
insomnia. I barely sleep. My sleep hygiene is awful. Like, I mean, if I go to bed at 7:30, if I get in the bed at 7:30, I'm probably still not falling asleep until 11:30. I'm tossing and turning a couple times and then I'm waking up, before the alarm goes off.
Hmm.
I've done the counseling as well, and I currently take medication, and I am not embarrassed. I don't feel crazy. You know what I mean? Because guess what? In addition to talking to a counselor and taking medication, my number one counselor who I talk to every single day is God. I wake
Hmm.
up and that's the first person I talk to every single morning. And that meditation, that spiritual health, and it's exactly what you said earlier on, Mike, is that your spiritual and mental health, they're basically aligned, and they are, because it really just helps me to have, someone to talk to who actually talks back. You know what I mean? Verbally, at least.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, I share that with a lot of people, especially in my family, because I will definitely say most of my friends are either on some type of medication or they are in counseling. And you know that, Mike, we kind of share the same friends
Yeah.
pool.
Yep.
They
Yep.
really are. And my friends, they understand. But that older generation, right? It's really hard to just convince them that it's really okay to go and talk to a doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to go
Yeah.
talk to a counselor, even if it's just like that person, just you treat them like your friend who you just have conversations with, and they just give you advice and they help you unpack things and they don't judge you. I mean, I've tried to explain it from that point of view and it still doesn't work. But like Kaylee said, it looks different for everybody. So in saying that, I guess people have to kind of, be open and be willing to do it on their own accord. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yep.
So I would like to ask the two of you, what are some coping mechanisms and self-care practices that have been effective for you in maintaining your mental well-being, or maybe that you have advised others to do?
I've been
Kaylee?
doing a lot of journaling lately. I actually went to a women's
Mm-hmm.
conference in April. My wife's cousin has her own mental health practice, outpatient therapy in Houston, and so she hosted a women's conference
Awesome.
called Her Soul: The Experience. So we flew out there. We went there. It was, oh my god, it was so amazing. Like these women were just speaking like life, like And so I got one of her journals, and I just been journaling. It has like different sections in the journal. So like it was a journal. It was a section where you just journal, like nothing blank. You just say what you want to say, and then it had a section where you do like challenges, achievements, gratitude, focus for tomorrow, like things like that. So I've been doing that like every day consistently, and that's been helping me. And then what I do with some of my clients is I do like grounding techniques, like the 5 4 3 2 1 technique. But then
Mm-hmm.
some of my clients have anxiety, so they can anchor and like just calm and think about one thing. Um, what else have I done? Some of my clients have like ADHD. I know this not like coping, but like I do like games because with kids, I do games with them like red light, green light, because they like you have
Hmm.
to focus, like
I
stop.
love that.
You know what I mean? Or like
Yes.
concentration or something like that. But yeah, that's how I've been
Mhm.
getting to my mental health. Journaling has
That's
been.
awesome. I
That
love
is. I'm gonna steal some of those.
that. I
Go
know.
ahead, feel
I'm gonna
free.
repurpose. I'm gonna
Yeah, yeah,
repurpose.
there you go.
Right.
It worked.
Appropriate.
It worked.
Yeah,
Look,
not wrongfully,
we
but
know the
I'm gonna
difference between
appropriate.
Yeah,
stealing and appropriation, Mike.
yeah.
Oh, we sure do. We sure do. Um.
How about you, Mike?
So for me personally, so I have to plan things too, just because I have anxiety as well. So I'm always thinking about what's next, right? No matter how much I try to tell myself, just relax, just be in the moment.
Yeah.
So what I do is I have a vision board that I actually have to look at every morning
I love the
to
vision
see. And so it's not necessarily small tasks that are on there. They're grander scheme, but what it does is it puts me in a perspective of, okay, today ain't that big of a deal.
board. Hmm.
I'm trying to get to X, Y, and Z. So I have it different colors, different things where it's family based things, it's professional based things, personal based things, even travel is up there. Just to remind me to, think about all those things.
Hmm.
And then the next thing that I've been doing and I've been actually kind of like pushing to other people to at least try, right? Because it's something that I think people are kind of like against. I don't know why, but it's a combination of the two. It doesn't have to be done together, but yoga,
Hmm.
um, and then meditation. Now you can do yoga while doing meditation,
Hmm.
or you can just do either or. But meditation has really gotten me to like what you were talking about with those games, like just focus and
Mhm.
just let things go. And having that moment in time to where when you really get, I think, because it takes a lot of practice, honestly, because you're not trying to go to sleep. Because first,
Right.
when I first started doing meditation, I was just going to sleep.
I've done that when
Wow.
I
Um,
did yoga.
yeah,
Wow. Well,
it is.
that's
It
great.
is.
That means that you must have really
I was
gotten into like
relaxed.
the
Um,
depths of
It don't
yourself.
always happen though. So that's the thing too.
Gotcha.
So it could be an experience to where um it feels like wasted time, but the times where you can actually achieve not thinking about anything,
Hmm.
it's different. It's like where I don't have no anxiety at that point in time. I'm not thinking about even down to, I'm not even thinking about what I'm gonna eat tonight. I'm not thinking about what I'm gonna
Amazing.
wear tomorrow. None of that.
I totally
Uh,
need that.
so, so meditation, um, has been pivotal for me. The first time I actually probably really meditated and didn't go to sleep, I did one of those salt baths.
Oh, I love those. Yeah.
So, and I can swim, but the thing is, I didn't feel comfortable sleeping with the water by my ears because you're
Yeah.
laying back and you automatically float, but the water's still right by your ears.
Hmm.
And it was in that little chamber because it's dark, it's just a little blue light in there where I really achieved, I think, not thinking about
That's
anything.
amazing.
Mhm.
And from then, that's when I was like, I'm gonna keep trying this meditation. I got to give credit to my wife though, because that's really the person who got me on meditation.
Hmm.
Because she meditates all the time,
Oh, that's phenomenal.
and
When you so clear this up to people. Meditation is not, Angela Bassett as Tina Turner and What's Love Got
Nam
to
Young Reggae Cure, Nam Young. No, I ain't talking about that. I ain't talking about that. Look, look. No, we not Nam Young Reggae Cure. You don't have to light no candles. You don't have to do none of that.
Some of
You
us
don't
have
have to.
only seen it from that perspective.
You don't have to do. You just need. You can do it. So some people, not me, because I'm not that good at it yet. Some people have claimed to be able to do it. It doesn't matter in what environment.
Mhm.
Wow. That's
Me, I gotta be in a quiet environment.
hmm
Not too quiet because that's when I fall asleep.
right.
But a quiet environment to where it's not like conversation going on, not TV going on, something that like take over my yeah. So and no, you're not is no worshiping nobody else. We gotta put all that out there because I mean
Exactly.
we done said things like, oh coach, I'm just gonna say it because black folks will take it and they'll be like that we
Yes.
saying. I'm not saying, look, all I'm saying is just take some quiet time to yourself. That's really what meditation is, to where you don't have to worry about all these stressors that Kaylee even talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Inflation, that job,
Yeah.
any of that stuff.
Love it. Love it. Um, so I have another question. Let's talk about boundaries because I feel like if you don't have boundaries, this could be one of the most prominent stressors in your life, whether it's
Hmm.
with family, whether it's with friends, whether it's with your significant other, or in the workplace. So, what is the significance of setting boundaries? Let's start with Kaylee for you in relation to maintaining a good and healthy. state of mind for
Yes.
you?
So I had to learn how to set boundaries. I'm a people pleaser, unfortunately. But being with my wife, she's very, very strong minded. Jessica knows because they've been
Yes, she
friends for so
is.
long.
I love
But
it.
she's a very strong minded person, very strong will, boss mentality, all of that. So I am very
Hmm.
sweet, very soft spoken, do not like confrontation, any of that. So she had to teach me how to set boundaries. And, and being a people pleaser and coming from that, when I started to set those boundaries, I felt like I was being disrespectful. I'm like, I don't want to talk to this person like this. I don't want to say those things, because I felt like I was being
Yeah. It's
disrespectful.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, it made me uncomfortable. And
Yeah,
also when
I
I
got you.
started to say the things, people were like, wait a minute. Because I had been so submissive to
Yep.
things, they were like, hold on, this,
Mm.
They
so
feel like you
It
changing
was a
up.
change. You done
like, who
changed
you
up.
talking to? I'm
Right.
like, oh,
Mm.
but I had to
You
Yep.
learn how to
switching up.
boundaries. Yeah,
Yep.
switching up. So I had to learn how to set those boundaries with family, like, with my mom in
Mm.
particular, like, because she was so in tune with my life, like needed to know everything because I was giving her information, and telling her things, but I had to set that boundary, like, take away those things, and even in the workplace, like, stop telling people all your business. No, you don't, if you go
Yes.
to work, and you make friends, that's cool, but they don't need to know all your business because then, if something happen, they might turn around and use that against you,
And they will.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
with friends, I
Yep.
had to learn all
Trust
of that.
me.
So setting boundaries is very, very crucial for your life because if you don't set boundaries, then it will stress you out. Like people will take advantage of you, and your situation. So setting boundaries is very, very important. I highly recommend 10 out of 10, you know.
Yes.
Yes,
So
and you don't, I completely get you that it's uncomfortable at first,
yeah.
especially when you have been submissive um, in those respective relationships. And like me and Mike mentioned, people are going to be like, "Oh, you changing up on me? What's the problem? What
Mhm.
did I do?" And it's like they need to learn to take the I out of it. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
you have constantly thought of them for a moment, they need to think about you. You know what I mean? They
Mm-hmm.
need to understand that you need to set those boundaries for your own mental health. It is very, very hard to elevate when you don't have boundaries. It's
Yes.
very hard to focus on yourself because you are constantly thinking of other people. And oftentimes
Mm.
you put them first.
Hmm.
And I talk about this all the time. And
Mm.
people say, "How can you fill someone else's cup when yours is empty?" I know it's an
Mm-hmm.
overused cliche, but it's very easy to understand what that means. It's like if you are constantly taking and taking and taking from me and you're not giving anything for me, well, guess what? A car with no fuel is not gonna move.
Yep.
And that's how I feel. And so I always say that if I set boundaries with people and it turns them off, well, those are the type of people that I wanted to be wed out of my life, anyways. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Those people are not for you. Everybody that is around you or everyone that tries to attach themselves to you, they're not necessarily for you because some people are in your life just to take.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, you will see who's there to breathe life and nurture you and reciprocate what you give. And it's okay. And I know, and this is for all the young folks who just feel like you got to be popular, you got to have a lot of friends. Like having a friend, a whole group of friends is what really matters. And it's not. It is not. Like at the end of the day,
Quality over quantity.
quality over
Amen.
quantity. That's a perfect way to explain it, Mike. And what he means by that, if you don't understand, is that hey, you can have one really good friend who you can count on for any and everything over five friends who you can count on occasionally, maybe, or not at all.
Mm-hmm.
So please know that because I do see that a lot with our youth is they just want to be liked. You know what I mean? So they are very submissive. They are very giving and they don't have boundaries. And oftentimes they're doing things that are out of their character.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what it affects? Their mental health,
Yep.
Yep. And they
you
don't
know,
even know it before it's too till it's too late.
Yep.
until it's too late.
Till they
Absolutely.
crash. Yeah.
Exactly.
Um,
So how about you, Mike? How do
I
you set
mean,
boundaries?
y'all kind of hit it. I think the last thing I would say is really understanding that know does not really mean that I'm being disrespectful. I don't like you, but it's very powerful to sometimes just say no.
Mm-hmm.
And then in some of these relationships, no without a purpose. No, don't. Sometimes
You
you
don't
don't
have to
have to
explain.
provide the why,
Mm-hmm.
um, because that's part of your peace of mind too. You have the right to not want to do something,
Yep.
Yep.
or not think something is cool within your area. Like I think about like energies, right? Like and the right people, like you said, just are going to respect that, and those are your people. It's not to say that the ones that aren't are bad people, but maybe it's just not your tribe, your people, the people you should really be around, right? So I've really practiced on being okay with saying no because Kaylee, I understand, like it is. So I'll talk about the different arenas in the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
Most people want you to just do.
Mhm.
Yep.
And what that kind of equates to is yes, yes, yes.
Yep.
Right.
As opposed to asking questions, seeking understanding, or really actually coming up with a better approach, or just sometimes saying, no, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Um, but what I've recognized is with taking a step back and not just accepting what somebody wants me to do and just creating just a easy, smooth transaction, what it's done is it actually has made me part of what we are doing, which then gives me a little bit of purpose behind
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing.
Exactly.
Um, and then it gives me more energy to actually want to do it.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it just, at the end of the day, when I leave, I feel as though, okay, I've actually contributed as opposed to just push the button on, for lack of better words, push the button on what you wanted me to do. Um,
Exactly. You
and
feel
then the,
empowered.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And then I think the one that is more integral to me is the family dynamic. So, um, speaking with my mother, she understands now that when I say no, that don't mean I don't love you, mom.
Right.
It
Same
just
for my
mean that,
mother.
yeah, it just mean that I ain't got it to give right now. I ain't got the energy. I don't want to, I don't want to come over there and really show you how I feel right now.
Yeah.
And I think she's understood that after me actually staying true to that,
Mm-hmm.
because the start of it was shaky. It was like, oh, you think you better than somebody,
Yep.
it was that type of thing. And then in my family at home, uh, my wife, I I can't say it enough. I mean, just since she done known me, I done talked about my wife
Yeah.
has always understood if I ain't got it. Even when I didn't know that
Yeah.
I ain't have it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really blessed in that aspect. Now with my kids, it's a lot more difficult. I have to, those are the people I do provide the why to when
Yeah.
there's a no, so that they understand, because I don't want it to be banked in their mind that is, I just don't want to do for them or do with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also that so that they can understand when they feel that type of way right now or while they're growing, that
I
it's okay, it's natural.
Yep.
And this is how you communicate it, you
Yes.
know? So, no, that's what I'll add to what y'all already said is a powerful word and one that people should explore or think about having the option of using more often.
Yes, I will absolutely say there is a lot of power in no. Like saying yes all the time, you're actually giving up power. You feel
Mm-hmm.
powerless. You feel
Mm-hmm.
drained. You feel sad. You feel depressed. You feel empty. You feel used. You feel abused. I mean, all these words we can just continue to throw out when you're a person who constantly says yes. But as soon as you start saying no, from the first no, you're gaining your power back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're
it's like,
empowered. You're getting
yeah.
stronger. You
Mm-hmm.
feel like burdens being lifted off of your shoulder. I mean, there is so much power in no. And I will definitely say, kind of like what you all said, and Kaylee kind of talked about it, oversharing with her mother, and you talked about, how difficult it was to say no, for the first time to your mom, but she learned to understand. And I would say, um, my family is the same. And when I'm saying family, I mean like parents and siblings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would always be like, yes, even when I really didn't have it, and I knew I didn't have it, they didn't necessarily know I didn't have it. Guess why? Because I never really told them, because I never said
Mm-hmm.
no. I just wanted to please them. I just
Mhm.
wanted to give. And my husband had to tell me like you can't give what you don't have, and not only sometimes that you don't have, but just because you have it, if it's already in your savings account, you
Oh
don't
yeah.
have it because it's not
No.
in your checking account. You know what I mean? Like it's not there for you to give. You've already put it to the side for something that you want it for. So, like
Or
you're
need.
never exactly or need, and
Yeah.
you're never going to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish if you constantly transferring stuff from the savings to the checking to give it just because you think you have it. You don't have it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I always thought like, oh, they'd be mad at me, or oh, they would think that I think I'm too good now and stuff. But you know what? I was very shocked because they were so understanding. They really were. Like once I said no or I can or not this time, they started to find other avenues. And most of the time they figured it out for themselves. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And it definitely helps the relationships, right? Because if you say yes, you sort of learn to resent those people
Mm.
and you don't realize it, and it really does hurt
Hmm.
your relationship, and they might not even know because you ain't been honest about it.
You ain't communicated it.
You
You ain't
haven't
gave them a
communicated.
chance.
Exactly. Once you start saying no and you get that power back and they understand, so they're not really asking as much, then you start to rebuild those broken relationships that the other person on the other end don't really realize it was broken in the first place, or if they did realize it, they didn't even know why because you never even communicated it,
Hmm.
right? And so it's like, and relationships, healthy relationships are important to your mental health, because if you're in any type of relationship, whether it's with your job, whether it's with your significant other, whether it's with a parent or any kind of family member, if it's not healthy for you, you don't need to be in a relationship.
Yep.
Period. I don't care who the person is. If it's not
Yep.
healthy, get out of that. Set your
Yep.
boundaries.
You gotta cut that off.
Cut it off. And it is okay. It is okay. If it's a relationship worth saving and reconciling, then it's gonna take more than just you on your end trying to take it from being unhealthy to a more healthy space. So, and people don't realize that it's people will stay in relationships just for the sake of time, right? Just, oh well, but I've invested so much, but you drained.
Yeah, I had to have that conversation with my oldest that because my circle is not based off of time, because the person who I would probably be that star person in my life outside of this family, who's my closest friend, I've probably known them only 8 or 9 years.
Hmm.
But they are the person that I can depend on, and
Yeah,
that's the person that I can talk to about things, and that's okay because I have other friends or associates that I've known for a lot longer, and that's just not the place for them. So
exactly.
sometimes time cannot be the only variable that you use when you're trying to value or come up with the value for a relationship. So I agree with you,
Exactly.
Jess.
Exactly. And people hold on to it too long. And next thing you know, they are struggling deeply
Yeah,
with their
yeah,
mental health.
neither are titles either. So
Exactly.
and I and
I
I and I mean, because I had to have that hard conversation with my mom. Like,
hmm
just because you're my mother doesn't mean that I got to expend all of my energy, you know,
exactly.
or doesn't mean that I should. And she
Yep.
understands it now that I've actually broken it down and had the language and the ability to
You were
communicate it.
able to communicate it. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, the responsibility is really on you to make sure that you are prioritizing your mental health,
Hmm.
to then allow other people to even you got to give them a chance. If you don't tell them, what can you
Exactly.
expect? They're gonna keep taking because that's what they used to.
Exactly. And you're actually going right into the next question. So I'm going to let you go first to answer. But I wanted to know basically what strategies would you offer to other people in just promoting open dialogue and support for those who may be struggling with their mental health issues? What can you offer them to learn how to talk about it, be more open, seek, help for it?
I think first you got to reflect and know that you're in that spot, right? Um, Unfortunately, a lot of times when people actually get into it. Even when you talk about us, it's either through I think Kaylee said it was through education where she had to take those sessions. It's kind of a, for lack of better words, like a forced situation, whether it's through you're trying to get to somewhere or whether it's through a crisis,
Yes.
which is unfortunate, but it can be a good thing. So um, being able to communicate to the people that are around you that you're going through something is important
Yeah.
because they see you they don't see the same person that you might be, right?
Mm.
They see their perspective of you. So they see the success you may be having in their mind. They
Yep.
see how upbeat you might be. They see how talkative you might be. They see how uh, unbothered you might be. But once you can actually communicate to those people that you feel safe with, that I go through X, Y, and Z, I think it builds vulnerability and it builds this space to where then you can cultivate a relationship even deeper than it was before.
Hmm.
Um, you don't always have to be the strength in the situation. Sometimes the other person, now I'm talking in spousal type, sometimes the other person may be the strength, right? But you cannot get to that point if you are unable to communicate that, hey, I'm going through something. You might not even be able to communicate why. But being able to communicate that you are feeling something is really, I think, your responsibility to yourself. Uh, so I think I'm on the track of that question, but
No, you're good.
um,
Yeah, absolutely.
like communication is so vital in it. But getting the thing is, before you can get to the communication, you got to get over the fear
Hmm.
of really just allowing people to see you as imperfect.
Exactly.
Because I think in our work environments, especially, there's certain masks that we wear, and oftentimes when you're considered like the go-to person or the person who's steady or the person who is dependable, they're
Hmm.
not really thinking of you as just those things. They're thinking of you as they're not really thinking of you as a person that has emotions
Exactly.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So you have to share that in order for that person to recognize who you really are
Hmm.
and that you are a person. And I really it was easier with the safe spaces at home than it was in the workforce for me because you tend to just keep telling yourself it's just a job. I'll be all right. It's just a job. I'll do my job and go home.
Hmm.
I'm a compartmentalize. But you cannot truly compartmentalize emotion or stress.
Mm-mm.
So you have to be able to recognize that, these areas or these places or these situations are things that stress me out. And then you got to find a way to communicate it. And the people who care about people, who have preached that they care about people and really do, will accept that and really will actually welcome that because without you saying anything, I believe that a lot of people assume that they are creating safe working places, right? And that work is a safe place. And by
Hmm.
safe, I mean you can be who you are all the time.
Yeah.
It has taken, and I think these last 4 years, ever since COVID started, I think it's going to where it's important for people to actually talk to the people around them and tell them how they're feeling in certain spaces. If we actually want to make it a place that's actually safe for mental health or any of that. So I guess we were talking about strategies, right? I think. Look,
No, you gave a perfect answer.
look, that's my
Absolutely.
that's my short term memory loss right there. Look,
Hey, look,
no, I'm for real
you
too.
can revert back to this video for your VA claim,
Hey,
okay?
I got enough of those. I done been in a meeting and I've been sitting there and it's been going on. I'm sorry when I'm talking, it's been going on. And this how I know it's stress in there, right? Where it's
Hmm.
because you lose focus with
Yeah.
some with stress. And all stress ain't bad, but with stress, sometimes you don't focus. You focus on that stress because you're trying to
Yeah.
respond to it. And
Yeah.
I've been sitting in there, and cause my sleep is trash too, Jeff. So I'll be
Yeah.
sleeping, sitting there, and I'm focusing on trying to stay awake, as opposed to focusing on what they talking about. And then they come around, and Mike, what you think?
Oh Lord.
And I've learned now. So no, I'm still, I've learned now to be like, hey, I really wasn't here for probably like the last 30, 45 seconds. Can you repeat that?
My
And I
Lord.
don't, the first time I did it, it was just like, but no, I mean, just be real, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to get me to the finish line. It is foreign to a lot of people. Like
Hmm.
Kaylee said, and she was talking about, we were talking about switching up. People think it's switching up, but it's not switching up. It's really me being comfortable and being me
Yeah.
and understanding that my mental health is a priority.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How about you, Kaylee? What advice would you give to people who are struggling with kind of opening up about their mental health?
I want to piggyback off what Mike said. I feel like first you have to identify that you have like mental health issues. Kind of like, when people are addicted to drugs or alcohol. Like the first step
Yeah.
is admitting that you have a problem. And
Yeah.
not saying that mental health is a problem at all. Just I'm trying to equate the two, like, to have
Yeah.
a deeper
Just
understanding.
recognize it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
recognizing that something is wrong, and that you want help. I feel like maybe for me, writing has helped. So maybe like
Mm.
writing a letter to somebody that is close to you, and then that can listen and try to help you out. So like with me, like, yeah, writing helped. Like I said, I would write in my journal, and like one section of the journal would say I need to heal from, and then I
Hmm.
would just write down all the things that I need to heal from. And they just would come every day. Like I didn't have to think about it. They would just come. Like I just be
Amazing.
writing down. I'm like, dang, I need to heal from that. I need to heal from that. Like, and I would explain why. Like I would tell a story in my journal. Like this is, so I feel like writing is a good strategy. Writing a letter, writing down how you feeling, giving it to somebody that you trust that actually would care to listen, and then going from there.
I love that.
I like that. I really do. Can I piggyback too?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It made me think of something when you were saying that, like when what I've learned and when I first started trying to communicate how I was feeling, I was doing it wrong. I'm a it was I was communicating in a way that was probably aggressive in the sense of instead of saying how I felt, just and that's it. It in the moment, it was more of focusing on the moment or the action that the person did that I felt
Hmm.
triggered me.
Right.
So what it did, it had a reverse effect. It made the person I was either talking to, whether it's work or at home, it made them automatically be defensive as
Yes.
opposed to receptive.
Yep.
So, and just switching that and really sticking to the topics about me and talking about how I feel, I think that has created areas to where, first of all, the number one relationship, me and my wife are able to have conversations to where, okay, it's not an argument about how you feel, you just expressing it, you
Hmm.
know? And then like in any other environment too, it's more of a, hey, I'm just trying to feel better about this situation. So they're a little more disarmed
Yeah.
and less defensive. So that's why I wasn't very good at that because I wanted all the smoke. I, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna let you know I wanted
That's
all the
that
smoke.
Duval County coming out of you.
Yeah, that's yeah, and
You
I
made
had to
me
get
feel.
yeah, that's
Right.
exactly yeah, you
Yes.
did
No, it's true,
yeah
and I'm glad Kaylee just brought that up because a lot of people do that, and it's like we can't control the actions of others, but we can control the reactions of ourselves. And if you want to have healthier
mm,
relationships and thus a healthier state of mind, instead of telling people you made me feel, right? Because you is make like he said, it's putting people on the reactive. It's making people feel like,
mm-hmm,
oh man, I got to put up, this defensive barrier because now it's my fault. But just start with I. You know what I mean? Start with
mm-hmm,
I. I feel or I felt,
mm-hmm,
and people will be more open to listening. And then you can actually better communicate the situation, better communicate your feelings, and it's going to be less stressful
Yeah.
for you
Mm.
and less stressful for the other person. Because I will tell you what, I am a very good arguer, but I do not like being in arguments. I don't have time. I don't have the energy. They're incredibly draining. I don't care. I'm the type of person at this point in my life that if an argument is going to happen, I'm just going to let you win. I'm like, okay, you win. Just for
I
the
had to
sake
learn that,
of
ooh,
just
because
like,
I used to like being in arguments.
yeah, I don't. I mean, when I was younger, I did. When I was younger, I
Boy,
didn't. I didn't
I'm
realize
I'm talking 5 years
the
ago.
the price of peace, right? When I was younger, I
Yeah.
didn't realize the price of peace. And
Mhm.
sometimes you just gotta let people have it. But like, okay, you're right. You win. Right? Like, I mean, it's just not even worth it sometimes. I think you have to prioritize health, especially these days. I mean, we all know we turn on, the TV or get on our phone and they're telling us, oh, eggs are bad, right? But 10 years ago, they told us eggs are good, or they'll tell us milk is bad for you. Well, hell, when we were younger, milk does the body good. You know what I mean? And so it's like there's so many things that we have to combat these days when it comes to our health as it is. The price of health is so expensive. The price of the
Hmm.
healthy food is expensive. The price of health care
Hmm.
is expensive. The access to mental health care is, it's expensive and it's hard to have access to that. So I've just learned to just prioritize all facets of my health, including spiritual health.
Hmm.
Excuse me. Sorry. 1 second. I'm gonna die.
Don't do that on us now.
No,
Not on the mental
no,
health podcast. Come on now.
Right.
Who next? Which one is next? Do it with them.
Good
Don't do it
gosh.
with us.
Shoot. I'm telling you, look, I think my coffin was trying to stop me from going on a tangent. But anyways, so you guys definitely have practice with your mental health. I'm not crying. I'm just it's like I'm choking silently.
We this the mental health chat. That's okay. All the emotions is okay.
That's true. I should pretend. But you all have talked about how you use counseling, how you've journaled. Kaylee, I know you have a great relationship with your spouse and you're able to talk about it. Mike, with your spouse as well. And so you do have at least some healthy relationships that allow you to talk about those things. So, how has those things helped you to be more resilient and grow personally
Mm.
by recognizing your mental health struggles and then actually finding a strategy to combat them? I'll let you go first, Kaylee.
so with mental like communication, I've realized through my spouse that I don't communicate well, and that also ties into like my up not my upbringing, but like things I went through as a child, like being shut down, not being heard. So I'm not a good communicator. Like when things happen, I kind of just shut down. Like if I have
Mm.
like confrontation, like I'm not that person. So
Yeah,
like with my spouse, and she tells me like, she'll tell me like, have you talked to this person? Have you talked to this person? You need to communicate. Like she tells me
yeah,
that, and I'm like, no, I haven't. She's like, well, why? You need to communicate. Like and that kind of has affected my friendships. I don't have friends for that reason, and also because they weren't good for me, like going back to what we were discussing
Hmm.
about, some people aren't good for you, and so I had to
right.
set those boundaries and cut them off. But just having her in my corner, and just doing my self-care has just allowed me to realize certain aspects about my life and about myself and what I need to work on. So
I love that. I love that. I mean, the price that you would pay for just that one person in life that you can count on, it is
Mm.
it is priceless.
yeah.
It really is priceless. One
I agree.
person of quality, Mike. And I know for you that's Kim, your wife. Because I mean, if we didn't know before
Yeah.
this, we know now just through this because
Oh
you
yeah.
praise your wife so much, and I
She
love
alright. Man, we didn't
whatever,
praise her
No,
enough,
no, no,
but she
don't
alright.
put me
whatever.
so down.
Nah.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, Mike.
kind of like Kaylee was saying, that is my person. Um, I mean, in a reverse, as I said, I used to be ready for all the smoke. So I would share my communications with my wife, and she'd be like, "Whoa." She'd give me that perspective of maybe I was tripping.
Yeah.
Um, for me to really go back and look at how I was trying to communicate how I felt, or trying to mask how I felt by communicating aggressively.
Yeah.
So that really opened it up for me, and I could just be who I am with all mistakes with her.
Hmm.
So when I'm talking about something, I'm not thinking about it. I'm able to just really tell her how I felt in the moment. Whether I don't have to think about, okay, is this wrong, right, all of that. I mean, because I mean, it's been 20 years, so at this point,
Amazing.
hopefully. So, uh, I really think that without her, I probably would not be even on this podcast discussing mental health,
That's awesome.
because the way I thought I was doing it was right.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna have this confrontation. I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
It was about winning. It wasn't even about
Getting your point.
saving relationships, getting my point across, getting to no solution. It was about just being right. Um,
That's hilarious. A lot of people
and
are out there like that, so I'm glad that you're being vulnerable
and
and
I'm
honest.
and I'm and I'm telling you, that's stressful in itself. Because now you're trying to think about it. Because now you're trying to actually make somebody else agree with you being right, but you're doing it in a way that is aggressive to where they're not even listening to your points anyway.
Hmm.
So it was counteractive to my mental health, and it was, I can look back on it and really say during certain like altercations or certain confrontations, um, there was no solution in mind. So it
Right.
was a waste of my energy, and therefore it didn't make me better. And at the
Right.
end of the day, I took it with me. Cause then I was
Yep.
leaving. At those times, I'm leaving. I'm like, whether I won, I'm leaving. Like,
Still
yeah,
mad.
yeah. They know I was right. You know. And then, or I was still leaving that way if they didn't agree. So,
I'm
uh,
so dead.
so, so it's like taking a step back from that and understanding that was really made possible because she'll check me, she'll tell me, and it's all good because we check each other.
That's good. And that's
Yeah,
what it's all about.
I feel like it's important to find people that will not agree with you all the time because you're not always right. And so
Hmm.
that's what she does for me. Like, I mean, even for other people,
Hmm.
like she doesn't take sides. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Yes. That's my husband.
yeah, like, she checks me when I'm wrong. Like, no, this is what, and
Hmm.
then she'll explain why. Like, and she's older than me too, so she has a
Yeah.
lot of knowledge in that and everything. But yeah, like, I needed her. Like, I needed someone like that in my life to tell me like when I'm wrong and then explain why, and teach me things. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Even like with friends, you need that in your friends. Like, you don't need somebody that's gonna be like, okay, you right, yeah. Because I was
Hmm.
that friend. I was that friend that wouldn't check that my friend, like, because I
Hmm.
didn't want that confrontation. Or when I did,
Hmm.
it was confrontation. So I would shut up and let them do, and that's not good to be a
Right.
friend like that. So I had to cut that off.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I love that. No, that's true. So much honesty being dropped here today on this mental health topic and otherwise, especially on just navigating relationships. So I really appreciate y'all. But before I let y'all go, I do want to open the floor and allow y'all to make any personal remarks, and then drop. I know y'all have some endeavors of your own, and so if you have some. I don't know what they call hashtags or something like that. Tell- Let me not age myself out of this conversation. I think they're called handles, handles,
Yeah.
or websites or anything that you want to share. Please do, Mike. I'm gonna let you go first, and don't laugh at me. I'm still in my
I
30s. Okay.
look, look, look. Hey, I'm laughing with you. We're not laughing at each other because I'm right there with you. I'm trying to keep up with the language too.
Yeah, I mean
But
it changes.
since we're using handles, yeah. So I mean, Jess already did such a great job that I can't even compare to what she did for our introduction. So I'll just say, for me, I'm always a person who will answer the phone. Now, I don't know what type of mic you're gonna get that time, but I'm gonna answer the phone. Uh, I do that as far as with children that I work with. I do that as far as with paratroopers, soldiers, officers. I do that with family. You might still get that no, but I do that just to make sure that you understand you can at least call me. And what that has done for me is it made me actually in 2000, I'm looking back at it, 2019, recognize that I've been blessed with a lot and I've gone through a lot with me and my wife. And we've come out on the other side of it. We still going through some things because we always an unfinished product. And I wanted to make sure that other people felt that you can do things as well. It's not about just being a statistic. It's not about if you're a teen parent. It's not about where you're from all the time, right? Sometimes that's just part of your story as you get to success. And I wanted to impart that on really black and brown kids that came from like situations like me. And that's what You Can Too Inc. is about. And you can check us out on youcan2inc.org. That's our website. So it's a .org. So it's youcan2inc.org. Um, and really just whether you're checking us out or you're working with any other organization, just understand that people need people. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what resources we have out here, how things change, whether we're going to AI or not. We're humans, we're emotional, we have things we go through. People need people. And if even if you only are that one person for that, or even if you only have one person for you, just understand that they are very valuable and that you be that for somebody else as well. Be that person who will listen. You don't necessarily got to be the one to provide advice because you might not be the expert in whatever they're going through. And sometimes they just need somebody to listen to and really just promote that mental health. Um, Without your mental health, it don't matter what you got. It don't matter what car you driving. It don't matter what house you living in. It don't matter what job you got. If you can't work beyond or work on the stressors that you have, man, it takes a toll on you physically too. We didn't really get into that, but it takes a toll on you physically too. So this is an important topic. It's not just an important topic for this hour and 20 minutes that we're talking about. It is something that you should live, you should promote, and you should actually practice all the time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mike. I knew this would be the perfect next conversation for you to be a part of. And I thank you again for coming back for a second season
Yes, yes.
and giving us your insight. Kaylee?
I just want to say mental health is very important. And it's okay to be vulnerable, be transparent about, whatever you're going through, talk to someone, write it down, write a letter, whatever you need to do to be okay. And it's okay to not be okay,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because somebody out there can relate to you. Somebody out there wants to hear your story, and it's okay.
It is. It is.
And with
Does
my
it do
wife,
that? Okay.
huh?
Nope, it don't do that. Nothing. I'm
Oh,
sorry. My
you trying to do the thumbs up, Mike?
Yeah, I was trying. It ain't work though. So
I don't see. He's funny.
My wife has Martha's Angels, which is her nonprofit organization that she just started. Focuses on the youth. She's actually about to do her first annual back to school. Well, not her first. I'm sorry, her second back to school drive. But she's partnering with another organization, and they're doing it big. Just doing, she's doing some raffles, silent auctions, a whole bunch of the whole nine. She's very very into helping the youth. She also has her other company, which is an LLC called The Angels Online, and it's a
mm,
podcast that focuses on bringing youths and adults together in open dialogue. She's 104 right now.
That's
She has different episodes on different topics. Very very very, very good. I suggest
a
that,
great
you take a
podcast.
listen. Yes, very, very, yeah.
Absolutely. The Angels
Yeah.
Online LLC.
And
I'm gonna
Definitely.
check it
Martha's
out.
Angels. Yeah.
Yeah. You
Martha's
can find it
Angels.
on YouTube for sure.
Yeah. Season one, two, and three.
Yeah.
Okay.
What were we gonna say about Martha's Angels, Kaylee? I'm sorry.
Martha's it doesn't have not apostrophe S, it's just Martha's and then Angels. And then
Okay.
that's her nonprofit.
Yes, and you can find both of those on Instagram as well. So I highly recommend follow those because she is doing really great things. I recently just came from we had a career day at I believe it was like a was it an elementary or a middle school? I think it was
Middle.
some kind of combined
I
a
saw
middle
that.
Yep.
yeah, in St.
Triumph.
Louis, where she brought
Mhm.
a lot of different people together, business owners, a child actor from St. Louis, a police officer, a psychiatrist, someone who works in DEI, someone who owns his own pizza company. I mean, so many different people from different facets of life to show those children who
Yeah.
may not have even been. Exposed to some of those careers that like Mike would say like you can too. You know,
Hmm.
our journeys kind of started very similarly to those kids in some way shape or form, and despite, you know, your journey, that does not really dictate your destination. And so she is really doing amazing stuff, and the things that you both are doing is so similarly related. So super glad that y'all could link, and
Oh
I
yeah, we
definitely
got a link. Yeah, I
yeah.
like this.
Yes, I'll definitely link y'all on the text message thread after this. And I
Okay.
want to thank y'all so much for your insightful discussion and for sharing your experiences and even your expertise, right? You may not have a PhD behind your names right now in this particular topic, but you're working in this topic. And not only do you work in this topic, you are living in this topic.
Hmm.
And that experience is invaluable. And I really thank the two of you so much. To our viewers, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude for your participation and just watching this. And hopefully, you're able to engage. You're hopefully, you know, you learn just one thing that you can take, whether it's for yourself or for a loved one. I want to leave you all with a gentle reminder to prioritize your mental health and well-being in your everyday lives. Like Mike said, your mental health does really affect your physical health as well. Remember, it is okay to ask for help when you need
Hmm.
it. Like Kaylee said, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to practice self care. It's okay to practice to prioritize your own happiness and your own fulfillment. And bottom line, let's continue to support one another in our journeys towards holistic wellness. Thank you again for joining us today. Take care, be kind to yourself and others, and remember, mental health matters.